So this is the Purpose Workshop. Today is February 1st, 2022. Yay. We just had our 3 days of winter in Florida. I had to put on socks and everything, but I made it through. And now it's going to be in the 80s again today. So yay us. So the Purpose Workshop is about really getting into, okay, now that we know what charitable real estate is, that's great. Now we know it exists. Now we know the basics of how a transaction goes down. But what the hell are you going to do with that? Like, what difference does it make that we know charitable real estate is an option if we're not applying it out in the marketplace? So the five, what we were calling the 5 steps, but we're calling them the 5 keys now, so that because the book will be out, and Danielle and I are right now working on the design of the book. And because we talk about how we have the key to unlock funding, we have the key, it's kind of fun to play on with real estate and keys. The first key is to learn what real estate is, or charitable real estate. But now we're getting into the second key, lead generation. So this is all about lead generation and how to do that. And in order to get into the lead generation aspect of charitable gifting of real estate, the first P, we're gonna focus on the first 3 P's today. So just to give you guys some context, we'll take a break every 45, 50 minutes or so for 5 minutes and then come back. So the first P is your purpose. So let's go ahead and get out of the way. I know you're all good people. I know you want to do good things in the world. So let's not spend a lot of time justifying, I'm doing charitable real estate because I'm a great person and I want to help the church and I want to save the animals. I get that. We get that. What I'm talking about with your purpose is, what do you want to do with it? How do you want to make money? How do you want to have influence, impact, income, and inspiration? Because, when we just randomly show up and say, Cami, how do I talk to financial advisors? Well, it's kind of like saying, hey, how do I talk to an expired? We need a little more context. We need a little more background. And so the first P is your purpose. So please be thinking, what is your purpose? If you've gone through the videos in the launch pad, I beat this to death, but it's so important. It's the foundation of everything that we're doing. Do you want to help that one church? Do you want to lead a movement in your country like Denise might actually be doing? Do you want to be the go-to for all nonprofits in your marketplace? Do you want, big PR and media exposure? Because not everybody does. Whether you want to be a Superman or a Clark Kent, you can do either way here. Okay, so there's your purpose. The second P we're going over is their purpose, meaning who we're talking to, whether it's an individual, one person, whether we're sending an email blast to 500 financial advisors, whether we're putting on social media looking for a property donor. In other words, the second P is their purpose. What's in it for them? What do they need to be hearing in order to even hear you, in order to want to learn what charitable gifting of real estate is? And then the third P that we go over in this segment is your presence. How do you feel about what we're doing here? Your inner game. Do you feel confident? Do you really get that we do have the key that they all so desperately need? Friends, whether it's a nonprofit that wants to get funded, whether it's a donor that wants to help the puppies or get a fabulous tax deduction, whether it's a real estate agent that wants to take full commission listings and build their team, do you really believe that you have the key to provide that which they are wanting? Because if we're showing up to these conversations wishy-washy or selling or begging or whatever, it's just not, it's not going to be as powerful and empowering for you or for them. And dare I say, we will rob them of the opportunity to bring in millions of dollars of funding. We will rob that donor of the opportunity to donate hundreds of millions of dollars if they want to in real estate. And we're going to rob ourselves of getting the full commission listing or the referral that we could get or the notoriety or whatever we're wanting to do. So with all of that being said, I'd like to start, I'm going to start with Rhonda because she was on first. And this is a safe place to be vulnerable, to not be ashamed or embarrassed about wanting to make money. It's okay. As a matter of fact, frankly, if you don't want to make money, I can't help you, because a lot of this stuff, it's new, it's different. It might be uncomfortable to take on something new. And if we don't really have a big why or a big reason, we're not going to do anything. So Rhonda, talk to me a little bit, Sweet Pea, about what is it for you? Why are you on this video today? What are you looking to achieve?
Okay. There are several things, and it's funny. I'm glad you said, there's nothing to be ashamed of, as far as, wanting to create, well, these are my words, a pretty substantial income. Because honestly, that is part of it, but it's only half of it. I honestly do feel like this is a great way to, um, to help nonprofits, make more money faster, for whatever their purpose is. And I think, the other half of it absolutely is, me being able to facilitate this sort of, several transactions, and be able to make a reasonable amount of money. Honestly, my big vision overall for my business is within, 5 years, I'm running my team from Belize, right? It's still being, very effective with, a group of people that work with me, but being able to do it from a remote location. And that was my dream before you came into my life. Absolutely. I think this gives me an avenue to possibly do both of the things that I want to do, in a lot faster way, if that makes sense. Um,
So I'm going to start taking some notes, guys, about what it is that you're wanting, because you now have a support group of people who are just like you. We all want to make a difference and help people. That's our top priority. But everybody in this group also are business minded. We're savvy. We're entrepreneurs. We not only do we want to make money, we need to make money. The best way to support our team and the nonprofits and everybody is to make money. The beautiful thing is we can make money making a difference. So let's hold each other accountable. So Ron, I'm going to start with that first thing. You want in 5 years to be running your business from Belize. So let's reverse engineer that.
okay.
And guys, whatever is the first thing you say, that's what I'm going to key in on, because we can go off on a tangent for half an hour about all kinds of things we want to do, but let's pick one and go for it. So in order for you to be running your business from Belize with your team, let's start with how many people or how much money a month or a year do you need to have coming in to make that happen?
I would have to be netting a minimum of $500,000 a year.
Good for you. So if you're going to net that, tax brackets and all that taken into consideration, how much do you think you actually need to be bringing in to net 500,000?
Okay. My husband has the engineering mind, so I'm going to my calculator. Well, I have to reverse that. So, and I don't do math in my head, and I'm definitely not any good on the spot. So, I'm paying about 33% in taxes
Let's
every
say
year.
750,
Thank you.
750, right? Just to keep it simple. Guys, we don't
Okay.
have to get our calculator out. We're just having a
Okay.
concept, and let's do this with everyone. So be thinking this through for yourself as you're listening. So if you need to bring in 750,000 a year,
Mhm.
if you're going to be in Belize running your team, I'm assuming that's not going to be coming from you doing transactions.
Correct.
It's going to be
Correct.
from your team with
Yes.
EXP, right?
Right.
So big vision, guys, just big vision. Give me some numbers. How many people do you think you need on your team to make that happen? Ballpark.
5.
5 people on your front line.
On my, yeah, well, if we're not, yes, 5 people on my front line.
Now, I know a lot about network marketing. I understand structure and percentages and all that stuff. I haven't studied EXP's structure enough yet to speak totally intelligently about this, but I do know that 5 people are only going to open up like the first 2 levels or the first 1 level. Is that right?
Right. So when I say 5 people, so I have my levels at EXP, but I also have a team, a small team that I run now, which are add to that. Um, so I would say if we're just talking EXP numbers, I would need 10 people on my front line to see that happen.
Okay. Guys, this is really important. This is really important to really get clear on what is it that we really do need. So thank you for that. So if
Mhm.
you need 10 people frontline, how many do you currently have?
2.
And how many overall do you believe needs to be in the team, in the downline? And you'll notice that I don't say under you. That is a huge pet peeve of mine.
Mhm.
In network marketing, people say, well, I got 38 people under me. How degrading and demoralizing. Can you imagine you're at this beautiful function and you're with me or your upline in EXP, and that person brings you over, you're so proud, you look beautiful, you're ready, you're dressed to kill, and your upline brings you over and says, hey, this is Rhonda, she's under me. What a horrible
Yeah,
thing to say. So
it
let's
doesn't
always
feel
say
good.
on our team or in our
I would say
down.
partners. I would say partners, Cami. They're partners.
Exactly. Something better than under me. I hear people say that all the time, and it's just like fingernails on the chalkboard. So how many people do you need on your team, Rhonda?
That number, I don't know what that number is. Maybe Sam could help with that one.
Um, One thing I was on recently with EXP, and they were talking about your numbers and how it works. And they said if you started in the next, say, 5 years, if you started focusing on 10 a year, then in 5 years you should have like 500
Okay,
because of just the law of um, quantum physics and how it expands once you start building that front group.
sure. All
So
right, let's use that number because
Okay.
this isn't an EXP class and it isn't a rev share percentages class. I'm just wanting to get a basis of idea because we're going to reverse engineer. If you need 750,000 in income in the next 5 years and you need 10 people frontline who can turn into 500 in your downline, then that gives me something to play with as far as what is your purpose? Why are you here? So I'm going to ask if you would want to either A, right now focus on how to recruit, because that's a lofty goal to hit almost $1 million a year in the next 5 years. So do you want to leverage charitable gifting of real estate? And anything that I suggest, you can do all of it, but let's have something focused. Do you want to focus on recruiting people on your team, or do you want to focus on right now getting your first donation of real estate, meaning becoming the go-to expert in your marketplace? You talk to me about that.
Okay, so I want to focus on getting my first charitable organization under my
Mhm.
belt. I believe that when I see people doing good all the time, like I gravitate toward those people. It's like I want to be with those people, around those people. I just feel like it makes me a better person. And I think that probably most people are kind of the same way. They want to gravitate towards good. So I think if I'm doing enough of the type of work that I want to be doing, then the attraction will fall, the agents will come. I could be wrong,
Right.
but I do believe that.
No, for sure. And you need to have like proof of concept, and you need to be showing people that you're doing it.
Right.
I just want to bring up this whole recruiting thing because Tuesday next week, every Tuesday, it's either the master class or training. Like next Tuesday, I'll be doing something specifically around recruiting. It'll be the purpose workshop like today, or it's the onboarding overview, meaning now that you're in, what do you do? What are your onboarding processes? So next week, we're going to get more specifically into what does it look like to recruit by leveraging this as a conversation starter. So kind of have that in the back of your mind too, because we want to be focusing in on. And so what I want to do is I want to put in the private group, maybe a little bit over in the public Real Agents of Change Facebook group that has about 800 people in it now. But I want to encourage you guys to start, publicly declaring your goal. Like, for example, if your goal is to have 500 people in your downline, 10 people personal, bring in X amount of money a year, have X amount of donations a year, et cetera, let's put that out to the universe and let people know that that's what our goal is. I mean, if we can't take a stand for our own goals, how can we help our team to do that? So that's good. Matter of fact, let me go around and find out, since we're all EXP here and team builders. Denise, 5 years from now, it's 2027. We as the Rock are getting together at least once a year, maybe biannually, maybe quarterly. We all come together and we're taking a look back on the last 5 years. What does your income and team look like? How many people do you have frontline, downline? How much money are you making?
I'm making $1 million a year. So that would require a large team as well. So I like the numbers that were being tossed out of, starting with 10 and then continuing. In my head, I had 10 a year as well. But I didn't know how it multiplied. It's who knows how that goes, I guess, depends. But I'm a little stuck still on the focus, only because I don't know yet what's going to happen here versus what's going to happen, what I can do in the US. So, but I know all the possibilities have been talked about. So, but that's my number, is what I'm thinking.
So in 5 years, do you think 10 frontline, or is that a good number for you?
You mean, so when you think of frontline, you're talking about an EXP, the first tiers, the first couple of tiers? Yeah, I mean, I think I probably need more, 15, but I think then I need them to find more also. So like the way they build their teams would also be important.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But right now I'm talking about you personally recruiting people that you attract to the business. You put them in your front line, because the more you have on your front line, the more levels of residual income or revenue share, right?
So let's say 20.
Okay.
4 per year.
Okay, 20 frontline. And how many? And look, guys, I get that we can't see how many people. When I was in network marketing full time teaching this shit hardcore, the saying was, everybody can bring in 2 people, and if 2 get 2, you got 4, and if 4 get 2, you've got 8, and by the end of 30 days, you've got 10 million people. And if it really worked that way, then within 90 days, we would have the whole planet in our downline, and it would be fabulous. But we all know it doesn't work that way. So when I was in network marketing, I was with a company called ACN. Everybody wants to know. I don't know why that matters, but it was ACN. We did phone service and electricity and gas and cell phones and blah, blah, blah. And I had a team of 10,000 people around the world. And I personally brought in 131. So I was what they called it phase 1. Phase 1 to them was when you're doing the business and out recruiting and piquing people's interest and in the trenches and working it, right? So I was the phase 1 queen, because 131 personal people in 5 years is pretty impressive in network marketing. Mm-hmm. So So I know better than, or as good as anyone else, that every person cannot bring in 2 people, no matter how great the opportunity. So I get that. But overall, if you've got 20 people in your front line, how many would you like to see in your overall downline? Round number.
Hmm. 200.
And I want us all to come up with our own numbers. Don't try to compare it to someone else. But now that we're coming up with these numbers, I'm going to post them in the private group with your permission. Because if, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
That's
Let's
fine.
hold each other accountable. And you know what? If once we've had this conversation, if you start thinking, how many do I need? If you start doing some research and you start seeing, oh, okay, I need 782. And I need 100 in my front line. I need 200. And like, if you want to get more specific with it, that would be really smart. And we can always update it. I'm just getting a basis so that we can talk about how can we leverage charitable gifting of real estate in this conversation to achieve this goal. So Sam, what would you say your numbers are, hon? 5 years from now, we're all meeting together. There's 50 of our top leaders together. EXP, REMAX, nonprofits, fundraisers, we're all together talking about what's happened in the last 5 years. What have you done?
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with Brett Gove's numbers. I'm gonna say 10. This year I have one coming, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 right now, or I'm borderline on 3. I have 2 right now.
So how much would you like to be bringing in annually in 5 years?
Oh wow! In 5 years, at least $1 million.
Yep. How many would you like to have on your front line?
Well, frontline, I'm trying to think how it breaks down. I think 30 on the front line would be a good point to be, because everything else it rolls down.
Yep. And what about your overall downline?
Oh, that one would be like 1,000.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't reach for the moon, you never know where you're gonna land up, right? Actually, Mars.
Absolutely.
Mars now, since we've been there.
For sure. So just so that I can play with you guys and have an even playing field, I have my license as an EXP agent in New Hampshire. I never have any intention of doing any transactions. I'm just paying my monthly fee. Once Charitable Real Estate has a good foothold and we're getting the PR that all of you deserve, etc., then I'll start leveraging this as a way to build my EXP team. And the way that I see this is, Brent Gove does these big events, and there's other people who have their coaching program. And maybe this one teaches you how to, call expireds and for sale by owners. And this one teaches you how to, work your center of influence or whatever their thing is. For me, I saw this as a way to leverage charitable gifting of real estate. We're always attracting beautiful people like you guys, heart-centered, visionary, open-minded, forward-thinking, and that's who I want on my team. So for example, Sam, you seem to be going after brand new realtors, you just got licensed. What's next? So that's kind of your niche, right? My niche is for me and everybody, and that's what I love about this. We can all build a business on our own niche and never step on each other's toes at all. Mine is I'm really looking for people that have 10 plus years of real estate experience. They know how to write a contract. They do it in their sleep. They've already got a huge center of influence. They are excited to have something new that turns them on, that gets them reignited about real estate again. They're already sitting on a board at the Boys and Girls Club or the animal shelter, et cetera, they are just people who are like, oh my God, I know 5,000 people. I'm going to put this in front of those people. So that's who I'm looking for, is the really seasoned people. And for me, in the next 5 years, because of my positioning with Charitable Gifting of Real Estate as the founder of The Rock and the author of the book that's coming out and the creator of the National Legacy Listing Month, et cetera, I see me with 5,000 people on my team in 5 years. So if I have 5,000 people in my downline, whatever the max number is that helps to unlock all the way through the 7 levels, I believe that's 40, isn't it, Sam? I believe it's 40.
I think you're fairly accurate.
So I want 40 in my front line and 5,000 downline, and whatever the income is for that is, you know, is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to start doing that. So with all that being said, let's just always have it in our mind that, yeah, we're talking to nonprofits, and sure, we're going to talk to some financial advisors, and we're going to bring in our first donation of real estate and all that fun stuff. But in the back of our mind, always be noticing what you're doing to talk to those nonprofits and those financial advisors. Notice what you do that didn't work, and notice what you do that does work, because you can help your teams as they come in leverage this as a way for them to go out and bring in business. Because what I also know from network marketing is 97% of people have a hard time recruiting. They have a hard time building their business. They have a hard time talking to other people and starting conversation. I used to teach classes just teaching people how to shake hands, make eye contact, and pique people's interest. I would go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting at 7 in the morning. I'd meet a complete stranger. 6:30 that night, I'm in another stranger's house doing a business meeting about the network marketing opportunity. The stranger I met at 7 a.m. shows up at another stranger's house, pulls out their credit card, and becomes my business partner. And the team would ask, how do you do that? How are you getting people that you just met 12 hours ago to come to a stranger's house and become your business partner? So I share that with you because I got a lot of experience in piquing people's interest and knowing that no matter how many people we bring in frontline, it takes a really unique individual to just go out and bring in 10 people themselves. They're going to struggle because they don't know how to talk about it, or they're vomiting the EXP commission plan on people, etc. So we as the leaders want to help our team to also, you'll have somebody on your team that's a veteran and loves veterans. Good. Let's teach them how to go out and talk to veteran-owned businesses and nonprofits that are veteran funded or veteran focused, et cetera, et cetera. You'll have somebody else that loves animals and somebody else that loves their church. So we're always not only doing this for ourselves, but figuring out how we can help others on our team. So having said that, Rhonda, let's take a big step back. Right this minute, in the next 6 months, what would you like to see happen for your business because of charitable gifting of real estate?
In the next 6 months, I would like to have created relationships with at least 10 new either financial advisors. I would say 10 total. So I'm going to do 5 charities and 5 financial advisors. And when I say create relationships, I mean actually create relationships, not just, hey, we met at a party 2 weeks ago kind of thing.
How many listings and or is there an amount that you'd like to see come in to the nonprofit world because of you and your efforts? Like some people say, you know what, I want to see my church get $1 million. Or like, Deborah, who came in with you guys, who reached out to Pastor Corey. I've got a call with them this week about strategizing. They're looking to raise $35 million to build this huge center, but he actually has the contacts that can do it.
Right.
They just have never had this vehicle.
Okay.
So do you have an idea, like in your mind's eye, 6 months from now, if we were to fast forward, and today is 6 months from now, like what's already happened for you? You've got the 5 nonprofits that you've created a relationship with. You've got the 5 financial advisors that you've created a relationship with. What are you wanting to come from that?
6 months, I would say, at least 4 transactions.
Okay. I'm gonna say 4 listings, legacy listings. And to take it another
Okay.
step further, what other kind of business? Because I want you guys to really be thinking, it's not just about, I'm going to go talk to this nonprofit and they're going to start working with me on getting a legacy listing. I want to start thinking about, well, what other kind of business could we be bringing in? What other kind of listings could we be getting, and buyers that have come to the table, and investors, and other ancillary things that have happened because of our activity. So for example, if you were to, and I'm going to suggest that every one of you, because you're all well connected, you're all credible, you've been around the planet long enough that you've got at least 100 people that know you by first name, whether they're a past client, a nonprofit you volunteered for, people on Facebook, people you went to high school or college with, et cetera, that you could actually pick up the phone and invite them to sit in on a Charitable Real Estate 101 class that I could do just for you. Or if you want to invite them on Wednesday at noon, you could. But keeping in mind that if we were to speak to 100 people that know us by name, whether they come to the class, whether they're interested in charitable gifts of real estate, whether they have real estate to donate, whether they sit on a board, regardless of any of that, I would be willing to bet you that 20% of them will turn into some kind of revenue just because you picked up the phone. So when I was doing the car shows, every year for 7 years, I was calling my mortgage friends, title companies, businesses I knew in the area. I'd print out 100 flyers, and every day I'd go hand out 10 of them. I wouldn't stop until all 10 flyers were handed out. In other words, as I was calling people, hey, Bill, car show's coming up, blah, 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 whatever I would say, at least 1 out of 5 turned into, that's great, Cammie, glad you're doing that. How much can we get for our house right now? It might be a mortgage person. Wow, Cammie, that's great. We're already sponsoring a few events, really don't have it in our budget to do that this year. But now that you've called, we're doing a first-time home buyers seminar in 2 months. Do you want to be the realtor? In other words, it was from picking up the phone and instigating a conversation that I got all this other shit happening.
Right.
So having said that, you got 5 nonprofits, you got 5 financial advisors that are beholden to you and excited about what you're doing. You've got 4 legacy listings. What are some other things that you'd like to see happen from this activity?
I'd like to see my immediate team grow by 3 additional agents. Sorry, I'm just making notes.
For sure, no.
Cammie, I just sent Retire with EXP little document there. It actually breaks down to the 40 levels.
Okay,
I mean the 40. So it kind of breaks it down so you could see how it goes.
you're muted out, Sam.
I attached it to our chat.
Thank you.
So 4 listings, 3 new agents. Let me ask all of you, do you want to be speakers? Like, do you want to be invited to come get in front of groups?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you certainly don't have to, but you know, when you're talking about financial advisors, you know, there's opportunities, guys, to get in front of and speak to 50 financial advisors, or be invited to, you know, come to a round table of nonprofits and speak to them. It could be that your board of realtors, you could go and present this information to them, which is a great way to recruit, because you're not talking about EXP, which they wouldn't allow. You know, you wouldn't go to the board. See, this is what's so beautiful about this. You wouldn't go to the board and say, hey, I want to present about the EXP business model. You wouldn't walk into a Century 21 office and say, hey, how's your commission split? But with this, and we're never talking about bait and switch. If we're talking about charitable real estate, please stay on that. We're gonna squash if we start hearing about people baiting and switching. In other words, you know, you're doing a lunch and learn about charitable real estate, and 15 minutes in, you switch over to the comp plan with EXP. No, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're building relationships, because we really know in our heart that this is a great thing, and that you can't handle all the business in your marketplace, and that nonprofits do need thousands of realtors doing this, and we will pay a full commission to anyone and everyone. So we want to attract them that way. So do you want to be a speaker, Rhonda?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Who would you like to speak to? Like, who do you see yourself being a great conduit for? Like, who do you jive with?
I do. It's funny. I used to, before COVID, I used to do a lot of, you know, buyer seller seminars. So, and I only mention that to say that I'm used to, like, you know, being in front of, you know, moderately sized groups. I won't say large groups, on a regular basis. So I completely, you know, see myself bringing together, you know, a group of financial advisors, you know, and or nonprofits, to, you know, just to share the information with them.
So let's put a number on that. And this is for all you other two as well. We'll get your numbers on this. So what we're doing right now is we're setting up your P1. What is your purpose? Like, what is a business model that we can create around charitable gifting of real estate? Then we're going to take a 5-minute break. And when we come back, we'll start getting into P2. So in other words, now that we know Rhonda, you know, 5-year vision is 10 people frontline, 500 in the downline. She wants at least 5 nonprofits and 5 financial advisors to be in a good relationship in the next 6 months. She wants to have 4 legacy listings, 3 new agents. She wants to have, you know, 3 speaking engagements a month, et cetera, et cetera. Now that we know what that is, let's reverse engineer it and start talking about, okay, well, who do you need to talk to make that happen?
Okay.
And when we know who you need to talk to, then we'll talk about what to say and how to say it. Do you need scripts? Do we need to schedule a charitable real estate 101 to get started? Do we need to help you put together emails and social media, or can you do that yourself? So in other words, we're going to be kind of reverse engineering. So speaking engagements, would you like to do them live in person in your area, or do you want to do Zoom or both?
I prefer live, but definitely open to both until that becomes a really valid, you know, valid option, in California at least.
Okay.
So crazy. I'm in New York, or excuse me, in Arizona, and I walk into a market and like hardly anybody's wearing a mask, which is a little bit scary because, as I mentioned, I'm with my aunt who just went through a cancer surgery. So I'm like double masking. Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. Sorry, I digress.
Right.
All
Okay.
right.
So speaking engagements, you're comfortable in a room or in a Zoom. And so what I also can do with you guys during this purpose workshop is go through the Charitable Real Estate 101 presentation that we have, that because you're with Legacy Launchpad, you have access to that. And I'm more than happy, thrilled, beyond excited to do them with you and for you. But eventually, you're going to want to show up as the edified expert doing these presentations, and you can tweak it however suits you, as long as the branding is always the right colors and fonts and stuff like that. Okay, Denise, 6 months from now, yours is a whole different situation, and that's okay. It's fun and challenging. So what would you like to see happening in your marketplace in 6 months from what we're doing in this group?
I would like to have 2 agents on my team from the US who I can leverage doing what the vision of the rock is of charitable gifting. I would like to have 4 on my from the US that are not necessarily EXP agents, just 4 people who are using this method. So 2 are from EXP on my actual team, and 4 that aren't necessarily, doesn't have to be, but they are real estate agents in the US.
So talk to me about that for a second. What are they doing, and how does it benefit you?
So they're leveraging charitable gifts of real estate, but I don't know how it benefits me. That was a question I had, actually.
Well, we can talk about
the team. How in general, what are other ways of leveraging / making money from that? Me sharing that with them and them off and running.
Sure. So first and foremost, we have the affiliate links. And right now, to be an affiliate with us, it's 25% referral fee for any product that they buy. Now, if it's a $200 certification only, it's $50. If it's Legacy Launchpad, it's $250. It's not going to get rich off of that, but it's a nice thank you from us. But in the next 3 months, we see all of our prices going up by 3 times. Because everybody that we talk to in every industry, in every genre, are like, your prices are way too low. You want people to take you serious. You need to, the certification needs to go up to $597 or $697, and then it will include a handful of marketing tools that go with the certification, right? And then the Legacy Launchpad will go up to maybe about $3,000. And it's going to include some other stuff that we've got going on in the works. So my point is that as an affiliate, there will be an opportunity moving forward to bring in even more money from that. But also, Denise, is, when you've got these people that you bring to the table, we can talk about different referral fees with them. In other words, you've got a US-based agent and she loves her church, and you brought her in, and now she's talking to the church, and the church, brings in a donation, right? Let's talk about how you can get a referral fee from stuff like that too. The system's going to get really big and overwhelming, and I'm not sure how we're going to keep up with all that, but suffice it to say, we want everybody to be compensated for what they're bringing to the table. So there's that.
Is there anything in place for that? Sorry, or is that something we create?
It's something that we're kind of, look,
Okay.
full disclosure, this is all brand new.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're working on it. But when you talk to Realty Gift Fund, and they talk about, we have never turned down a deal because somebody wanted a referral fee. Like, we're always going to do that. And then the third thing is that those realtors that are not in EXP, once again, this is a great way to build that relationship. Mm-hmm. It's going to be up to you as a businesswoman who has these, let's call them the 4 agents in the US. You brought them to the table, you got a little referral fee because they decided to do the launch pad. But now, over the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, maybe one day, I don't know, you're keeping in contact with them, you're offering them support, you're maybe doing your own trainings or something on the side. Those are realtors that you can invite to come into your group. So in other words, just because they don't become an EXP agent in the first 3 or 6 months doesn't mean that they won't,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm. Yes, that was kind of my thinking.
Yep.
And then as far as Canada goes, it's kind of developing. I mean, I did actually email the member of parliament here, and he did respond to me yesterday, and he said that the bill that allows it to happen, charitable real estate or charitable donations up here, will be reintroduced for this next sitting of parliament. So he does plan to bring it back. So that started yesterday, I believe, the next sitting. So, you know, who knows, maybe by the end of the year, that would be a reality here. And I'm working on connecting with accountants to see if there are other benefits to the donation of real estate that, if it's not, again, the capital gains, then if there's something that we can leverage. So it's more research and kind of like digging in to see who knows what and pulling out information.
I'm so excited for you with this opportunity. We can all leverage this in some of these same ways. For you to have a reason to reach out to CPAs and tax accountants, et cetera, in your market, financial advisors, et cetera, in your marketplace, to get their insight, their input, their advice. Let them know that you're the first charitable real estate specialist in Canada, and you're leading the charge to make sure that the bill gets passed and that people know about this, and you're looking for allies and collaborative partners. All of these people need to buy and sell real estate too, so for you to be able to take 10 listings, I've got a program, by the way, we need to have it put in the Launchpad as a bonus. 10 listings in 30 days is a program that I did about 6 years ago, because as a real estate agent, I've been in and out of real estate a few times. I went and did network marketing and did other things, but I'd come back into real estate. And in 2013, I came back into real estate in October, November, December. I was making a shit ton of calls to expireds, for sale by owners, past clients, just listed, just sold, et cetera, et cetera. And in January of 2014, I took 10 listings in January in 3 feet of snow in New England. So I created this program called 10 listings in 30 days. And the program was focused on calling expireds and for sale by owners. But even if it's not necessarily calling those folks, parts of that program are around scripting and body language and tonality, and all of that shifts over into what we're doing here. But my point is that in you're talking to all these people, you are going to have opportunities to say, hey, Bill, hey, by the way, while we're talking about this, while we're getting charitable real estate, as a tax benefit here in Canada, I am a real estate professional. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? In other words, you can flat out bring it up. You can reach out to nonprofits as the person who is leading the charge to bring this to Canada. And as you're talking to them, you can always say, why don't we do a little briefing, a little webinar for your donors, let them know that this is coming up, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, you could still leverage this just like the rest of us in getting in front of their volunteers, their supporters. As a matter of fact, in some ways, this is kind of easier for you, in that you're not asking the nonprofits to do anything. You're not asking them to ask for real estate. You're letting them know, hey, since our government has this bill in play, it may be that your donors can get a fabulous tax deduction. Why don't we just educate them and let them know that this is coming down the pike, blah, blah, blah. In other words, it's almost more of a softer sell for you, if that makes sense.
Because there's no ask just yet.
And look, guys, there's really no ask. The only thing we're ever asking people to do is to learn more. we're not asking the nonprofits to start taking real estate. We're not asking them to ask people to donate real estate. We're asking them to educate their donors and followers and friends and funders that this is even a possibility. We're inviting them to be in the know. So
That'll be my
really,
next thing to investigate is if there is something like the Realty Gift Fund here, and or if if this bill goes through, will accept Canadian and exchange. Like, I know there's companies here that do accept like stocks, securities, gifts, like as a go-between, as the specialized, they're not called that, or I can't find one, but to find someone who will act as the go-between, like Realty Gift Fund does here. That's the next.
Well, overall, the concept is going to be the same in any country. In other words, when people are donating real estate in Canada, you got the same issues that we have in the US. Nonprofits are afraid to take title because what if it's contaminated and they don't know it yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a mortgage to get paid off? They don't have $500,000 laying around. You're still going to have all those same issues, and there's still going to need to be a mediary in the middle to take care of all of that. So, you know, once again, these are all fabulous ways for you to get your foot in the door with a lot of really smart people.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I do. I see it as an even better thing for you. Because imagine you go on LinkedIn and you find the founders of the Boys and Girls Club, the animal shelters, et cetera, up there. You can reach out to them. Such a beautiful soft sell. Hey, John, listen, I see that you run this nonprofit here. You know, as a charitable real estate specialist, it's come to my attention that nonprofits like yours are not being funded by real estate. And because I am a real estate professional with altruistic intention, I'm kind of taking it on myself to push the bill through. Want to reach out to people like you, see what kind of support I can give you, you can give me, create these conversations. Why is it, John, that you think that they're not allowing you all to benefit from real estate? In other words, it's a foot in the door, it's an icebreaker, and it's a fabulous way to meet high net worth people who sit on boards that you just never in a million years would have had a reason to talk to them before. You're a fabulous case study, because the charitable gifting of real estate itself is only 10% of what we do at the Real Agents of Change. The other 90% is how to lead generate, how to leverage this, how to get out in the community and meet and mingle and build our credibility and our resources and relationships, et cetera. So all good stuff. So just to recap, 20 frontline, 200 downline, 2 new agents on your team in 6 months, 4 realtors in the United States that are doing this that you can nurture and take care of and could join your team. What are a couple of things there in Canada that you could be doing? Like, would you like to build relationships with a certain amount of nonprofits or?
Yeah, I think when you're asking Rhonda about that, I think nonprofits are definitely where I feel most comfortable right now, especially as a new agent. I'm not ready to have a room of realtors and talk to them. Not yet. I mean, I think nonprofits is where my heart is. And I think that's the easiest for me to connect with and educate, and the rest will come with time.
So let's just put a number on it so that we have something to hold each other accountable for. So if your focus is on Canadian nonprofits, how many would you say you'd like to be adding to your center of influence, or people that you've built a relationship with? Maybe you're doing presentations for them. Like, give me a number.
20.
Okay. All right, Sam, you know the drill. what would you like to see happen within 6 months of now?
6 months. Well, I want to make Icon, so I have to work it from there. I kept out, so I got to think about what I need to Icon by July. So maybe I could work those numbers that way. I want to make Icon by July. I'm
Okay.
at, I have to take a look and see where I'm at right now. Give me a second.
So you've already capped out. What's the difference between capping out and hitting Icon?
Icon, you need 550,000 GCI. And my average, I've been selling a lot of 4 to 450 homes in the high desert. So my average isn't as high. But I have a few that are coming down the line. I got a 550, I got 2 550s. 2 550s, another 750. I should be able to reach it by July if I can get them in escrow within the next month.
So
Yeah.
Icon is when you personally, as a realtor, earn 550,000 or more.
Yes. Yes. Icon is that, and then you get your cap back.
Got it. Okay.
And I've been to EXPCon, so I've already qualified when it comes to the things I have to do for going to some of the meetings, going to those specific functions. So I went to EXPCon, so that helps me qualify also. But getting to that 550,000, I really have to look at my numbers today and figure out what steps I need to get to my next. So let's just start from there.
So it's 550,000 personal
GCI,
income.
yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering how people like Gene Frederick hit Icon when they're not actually producing.
They're probably using, they have a huge amount of partners in their
there's
team.
other ways. So there's other ways to hit Icon.
I'm sure there's other ways that he's getting it because I don't think he's selling real estate anymore.
No. Okay.
His people are though. So it's helping him to get to his next level, but my people aren't doing that type of production right now. So it's basically on me.
So Deborah, just to catch you up to what we're doing, we're looking at where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? So 5 years from now, what do you want your business to look like, including how much do you want to be making annually? How big does your team need to be, frontline, downline? And then we're taking a look at what we want to be doing within the next 6 months. So be thinking of that, because I'll get your numbers and then we're all going to go on break. So Sam, if you want to hit Icon,
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
what can you do in the next 6 months regarding charitable gifting of real estate and how to leverage this in your marketplace to help hit that goal?
Well, I have a magazine ad that's coming out within the next month. That should get me at least people in a very affluent area of Valencia to see what I'm doing, so I can do an ad. I need to actually get that put together within the next couple days, so that way it goes into the next version of the brochure. Go ahead.
Who's it going to? What's the clientele?
There's about 2,000 people in a gated community on a golf course. Very affluent area.
So I would suggest to you that you put something in there like donate real estate. You pick the cause, we write the check. In other words, so the Real Agents of Change are partnering with a group called Perk Plans, which there's 200,000 realtors that have this perk plans on their website. So when people go to their website, one of the resources is perk plans. And there's all, it's one of those types of things where you go in and you get 10% off here and you get, kickback there. And if people go to your website and go to your perk plans and get ADT home security, they get a $90 gift card back in your name from ADT. Like, so there's all these perks to being a part of the plan. So as we're partnering with them, we are creating a banner that will go on all 200,000 realtors. They've got another 100,000 businesses that have these things. And overall, they have 5 million people that go to perk plans every month. They're poking around and shopping and getting perks and all this stuff. So we're creating a banner that says that donate real estate. You choose the cause, we write the check. But we're not gonna say exactly we write the check, because that technically is not true. We, the Real Agents of Change, don't write the check. It's Realty Gift Fund that does. But my point is that we're trying to come up with something quick and something that helps people understand. Number one, they can donate real estate. Number two, their nonprofit can benefit. Their nonprofit may not know it, but that's irrelevant. They choose the nonprofit, because if they go to Cars for Kids, for example, who does accept real estate, they will get their tax deduction, but they can't choose the nonprofit that benefits. And the fact is that we don't want to focus on tax deduction, because then we're competing with people like Cars for Kids, who have this huge, massive budget of bringing in real estate. We want to be more focused on, you choose the nonprofit, your nonprofit can benefit. So when you're writing that article, let Danielle and I collaborate with you on the language around that. But I would most definitely have big bold, donate real estate. Any and all nonprofits can benefit. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I'm looking at my eligibility, my revenue share eligibility. It says production benchmark reached based upon minimum GCI. Yes. So I'm wondering if I have to look into this. Maybe I need to go into eXp World and ask some questions, because if this is true, then I already have that minimum GCI, so I should be iconing.
Well, let's stay focused on how we can leverage charitable real estate.
Sorry about that. I'm just trying to figure out, because if my goal is to icon by July, what do I need to do as a goal to get to that next level?
Well, so let's take a look at that. So let's say, for example, you need 5 more listings or 5 more closings. You're not going to have a closing unless you have a listing or a buyer. Where are these listing buyers going to come from? So as we reverse engineer that, putting that ad out about, you being the only certified charitable real estate specialist, that's, and I'm not suggesting that people in that gated community are even going to donate real estate and have a donation of real estate listing in the next 6 months. It might be a process of, maybe you even, you check with that gated community, see if they have a rec center, some kind of social hall, and maybe you ask the management, hey, you've got this gated community, it's on a golf course, they're all affluential people, can't you see how this would be a value add for us to actually hold a Q&A in the rec center and invite them to come on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. or a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. where they can either come to the room or sit in the Zoom, or do like I do and do both. You physically come, and if 10 people show up and 50 want to come in on Zoom, that's okay too. But all that being said, whether they donate a piece of real estate in the next 6 months or learn about it and donate it next year or 5 years from now with their estate planning attorney through you, it's still an opportunity for them to say, oh my God, I don't have any real estate, but our animal shelter is desperate. Can you help them?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
I just figured it out. I just figured I'm at 3.5 mil. So I need another two, no, actually less than 2 million. So I'm definitely on the way. And if I get 4 transactions, I should be able to make it there. So
Right.
that's a good goal.
So you need 4 transactions.
From
So when we come back
today
from
to
break,
July.
when we come back from break, we'll talk about where can you find those 4 transactions because of these conversations with charitable gifts of real estate.
I'm really excited. I mean, if
Yeah.
I could see, if I could look at the numbers, see, I'm not a real big, I've never been real big at goals as just myself. I usually go, I have a high I personality, so I just go. And then I stop, my wife stops me and says, okay, well, let's look where you're at. But in general, I'm just go. And I just go and run.
Me too. I'm not analytical at all. I'm much more, let's fire the gun and figure out where the bullet lands later on. Let's just take action. Let's throw some shit on the wall and see what sticks and all that stuff. But what I'm doing with this exercise is, what is your purpose? What do you want to get out of this? When we come back from break, let's talk about, okay, who do we need to talk to make that happen? And what are we going to say to them? So Deborah, 5 years from now, what kind of annual income and where do you need your team to be to make that happen?
I have no idea.
Well, you haven't had the benefit of listening to everyone else. Let me just give you a recap just to help you figure out some numbers. And this is all based on wherever you want to be in 5 months. Let's reverse engineer that. Where do you want to be in 6 months? And how can charitable gifting of real estate get you there? How can we leverage it to do that? So for example, Rhonda, what started this is Rhonda, in 5 years, Rhonda wants to be running her EXP team from Belize. In other words, she doesn't want to be out in the field actually selling real estate. She wants to have a team that's large enough to support her income and to be able to manage it from there. So she needs to net 500,000, which means she wants to make 750,000 gross. In her mind, that means 10 frontline agents, 500 agents in her downline. And in the next 6 months, she'd like to have 5 nonprofits and 5 financial advisors who understand charitable real estate to the point where they're helping her to get in front of the right people. She wants to have 4 legacy listings, 3 new agents on her team, and speaking engagements in her marketplace in the next 6 months. So when we get back from break, we're going to start breaking down how can charitable real estate help her to do that. Denise is wanting $1 million in income in 5 years, 20 frontline people, 200 downline. This isn't a conversation about how the EXP commissions work. It's just like, how can I help you get where you want to be? She wants to have 2 new agents on her team in the next 6 months. 4 other realtors in the United States, whether they're on her team or not, doing gifts of real estate to start bringing in some referral fees, etc. And she wants to be speaking to at least 20 nonprofits in Canada about the prospect of bringing charitable gifting of real estate to that country. So for you, in 5 years, what would you like to see your annual income to be?
I'm not sure if I know what I want my annual income to be. Just always want to be able to maintain what I have because I'm very blessed and very happy with what I have. But like Rhonda, I'm really hoping that in 5 years' time, I'll be doing less on the front line and more managing of real estate and more managing of people and helping people and sharing the knowledge that I have in real estate so that they can come in. I'm not, and I'm not that patient to work with the brand spanking new agents because I've done that in an office before, but with people that maybe know the ropes, but they need a little help and they need, they already know what they want to do and they already know how to do all the forms and the basics, but that they want their business to go to a next level. So I'm absolutely looking to work with people in that capacity so that, you know, I'm not the one out there opening all of the doors physically, but I'm able to guide them and, you know, help people really be able to work their real estate, being able to continue working with the past clients that I have. And I'm so excited about, I mean, I don't even know where this, you know, real agents of change is going to lead me to. I'm very, very excited about that. I've always been interested in philanthropy. I've had one time in my life that I was able to make an incredible difference in giving. And that was being able to give a church a commission. And I was compelled to do that because I was selling their parsonage. I was brought in to compete. I competed with 7 or 8 local real estate agents, and they gave me the job. And then they were purchasing another home. So during that time, I was so compelled. So I said, you know what? And my partners hated it. The franchise hated it, but I donated my commission and it made a huge impact because it was over $10,000. And I had never
Well,
been able in my life to write that kind of money. And it made a huge
and,
impact. So I'd like
and
to be
we
able to do those things again.
and we want you to be able to do that through charitable real estate. So just to kind of stay focused, sometimes it's not necessarily the numbers of money that you're bringing in, but the number of people that you're serving.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, I don't know if there's a certain amount of income you need to make to sustain your current level of lifestyle, but let's talk about how many people you'd like to have on your team, because charitable gifting of real estate, one of the many benefits is we can leverage it as a way to build our team. So how many
Right.
people would you like to be serving and helping on your front line, which are the people that you personally recruited, and then an average of what the downline looks like? How many people would you like to have on your front line in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'd like to have 50 to 100 people on my front line.
All right, so I'm going to put 50 front line. How many would you like to have in your downline by then?
As many as Jean. No, people, I would love to have people all over the country and in also the new countries that we're going to. I have good friends that are from Portugal and they're making some very serious plans to move back there. So I've already told them, listen, you know, you got to give me an excuse to visit you. So we have to connect some real estate agents that we know in Portugal to EXP so I can have an excuse to do that.
Well, you know, Denise is actually breaking new ground with what does it look like to bring charitable gifting of real estate to a country that currently does not give that type of tax benefit. So she's doing the research and forging the trail in Canada to learn about all that fun stuff. It could be that you check, because you're such a go-getter, you've already brought Pastor Corey to us in a week. So it could be that part of how we leverage this for you is to find out, does Portugal have charitable gifting of real estate? And this isn't about you guys becoming like, you know, political activists and you know, walking around with a banner and stuff. It's about how can we leverage this to help the most people, and what would that look like to actually have this conversation in Portugal and teach the realtors there and the nonprofits, and you know, just have that door opener, that icebreaker conversation about this in Portugal.
Yeah, that would be great. And I really think that I subscribe to, if you build it, they will come, because they do. Listening here to Sam and my general area, I mean, if I go even 5 miles in any direction, I'm drowning in adult communities. I mean, they are just everywhere. That's what's being built right now, adult communities, and they're not cheap. I mean, these adult communities that they're building are minimum 700,000. You know, they're building 700 to 1.5 in adult communities, the new ones. It's crazy. So that's a great thing to be able to just tap into them. And I can't wait to the meeting tomorrow to know more about RGF and exactly how the process works, because I don't know enough about it yet. to see how it's all going to tie together.
Well, just to put some numbers on it, 50 frontline for you. Do you want to say 2,000, 5,000 downline? We're just kind of envisioning what our business looks like in 5 years. And then when you mention those adult communities, you know, like I've been talking with the others about, you know, what a golden opportunity to be able to reach out to those communities and let even the managers of the community know, hey, listen, you know, the community that you oversee with these, you know, 2,000 people that are over 55, because it's an adult community, one of the things that they need to know about is the fact that they can be charitable through gifting of real estate. I happen to be the only charitable real estate specialist in the area, and I don't mind, you know, doing a Zoom or coming into the rec center and actually hosting a little event to let them know. Find out if the manager of the adult community, find out what charity they love. You know, if they love their local ASPCA or veteran group or something, you can even bring that in as an idea. Hey, you know what? Why don't we bring together your community to let them know about charitable real estate, and we'll let your nonprofit have 5 minutes in front of the room to let them know if they do have real estate to donate, that nonprofit would love to benefit. So just kind of sharing some thoughts about that. So how big of a downline, just for a number?
Hadn't thought about it too much, Cami. If you're bringing in consistently 20 to 25 people, I believe having 1,000 down the road would not be unreasonable.
Okay.
Although that has not been my focus at EXP at all, but I think that with this, you know, there's something in my area that, and I know you don't want just to be about the EXP downline situation. We had a company called Exit here, and EXP agents, a lot of times when people know you're with EXP, they run because they don't want to be sold on EXP. So the thing that I am absolutely loving about this, we are really not selling. We really do have the cookie. And I love that, because in my life, I'm tired of selling. And you know, when you know you're offering someone all your real estate knowledge, and when you know you're really good at what you do, and then you're competing with people that maybe are not so great. I think having extra things to put in your basket, and that's why I came to the class originally. I think this is going to be very interesting here.
Agreed. Okay, friends, it is 12:20. Let's go take a quick potty break. Let's come back at 12:25, and we're going to get into P number 2. Who is it that we need to talk to? Be right back.